A very warm welcome, and we're going to start the program with this. The rise of so-called influencer marketing is undeniable, and we've covered many influencer-led advertising campaigns before, but not quite in this context. A recent piece by Media Monitoring Africa's Azola Dayile highlights that political parties seem to have caught on to the power of using social influencers in their political campaign strategies leading up to the May 8 poll. But here's the question. How ethical is it to pay personalities to endorse a specific political party? And how can these waters be navigated? Azola joins us alongside Janine Rainier, who is the account director at Tilt. It's a company, an agency that specifically works on influencer-led campaigns for brands. Big difference, though, between politics and brands, or is there? A very warm welcome to you both. Janine, let me start with you. What is an influencer, and how much influence do they really have?
So in a nutshell, an influencer is anyone who has a credible voice. So brands find these people and they get them to speak about their value propositions, and they can align to certain elements of their brand. So I think the interesting thing here is influencer marketing, it's new. So back in the day, it used to just be radio, and that's what people used to use. Now we are using voices of consumers to amplify the messaging.
Who determines what a credible voice is?
What the brands do generally is they do a deep dive into these influencers' accounts, and they try to see by what they project if they would be a right fit for their brand. So it's very difficult because influencers actually have to have their own values, and they need to know what they stand for if they want to accept a brand, because they can't just get paid to do work for any brand.
These days, do people set out to be influencers, or do they simply emerge?
No, they set out to be influencers. So you can definitely tell the difference between people who have actually been on social media for a lot longer than those who are trying to emerge now. But as soon as someone has a credible voice and they're talking about something that people care about, their following spike up. If they've been on a TV show, they suddenly have more following because people are interested in this human and want to engage with that human.
So, Azola, it's fine for brands, whether it be a soft drink or a soap or whatever the case is. There's a slightly different and maybe darker element when it comes to politics, though. That's your argument.
That's my argument. I mean, with politics, it's not as a brand where you can go buy a brand and drink a Coca-Cola. Here you're talking about democracy, and on May 8th we're going to elections. So what people put out on their social media pages has the potential of influencing, voter turnout and the turnout of elections at the end of the day. So it's really a murky sort of line between advertising for brands and advertising for political parties, particularly on social media.
Why is it murky? Political parties are surely just taking advantage of the current zeitgeist. It's fine. If a person's got an opinion and they're prepared to voice it in order to influence, what's wrong with them lending their name to a political party?
We are not saying that people should cease from using social influencers on social media. We're not saying political parties should stop doing that. All we are saying is that they should do it in a transparent manner. And what we mean by that is that for influencers, whenever they are solicited by political parties to put threads or particular tweets out on their social pages where they have substantial following of people, they need to then add the hashtag paid, sponsored, or to say that it's an advertorial. I mean, it's the same.
Why do you feel so strongly about this?
In traditional media, for instance, if you are to air an advert on ETV, for instance, or on a Sunday newspaper, it clearly states there that it's an advert. And those rules should also apply to social media, because that is where people now source their news. People are moving away from the traditional ways of, getting their news. And
in an ideal world, but you also concede that media has become so opaque these days that it's very difficult to introduce the kind of transparency that you're referring to.
Which is very much then important for political parties and individual influencers to act in an ethical and transparent manner by putting those hashtags and informing their followers that this is actually a paid post.
Who are these political influencers, and how much are they getting paid?
Young people who are very much politically inclined, who know socio-political, who understand social...
Do they have high public profiles?
Not necessarily, but they do have a substantial following on their own social media pages.
And Azola Dayile, what are they saying on behalf of the political party?
It's a range of things. Others directly say that, okay, look, vote for this particular party because it has done A, B, and C. I was on NASFAS, for instance, and I was assisted by a particular political party. They built parks in the township that I grew up in. We have new schools, particular messages like that. While others on the far extreme would then go to bashing other political parties to say that, okay, look, the DA is a white supremacist political party because of A, B, C, and D. And it ranges according to those two extremes.
How do you think political parties are choosing these influencers?
I guess it's also having young people in their communications team, because I've been seeing that a lot of these political parties now are using young people within their comms team. And I guess those are the people who go out on social media. Those are the people who are on social media, who look out for these particular people who are, you know, quite savvy when it comes to politics, but also have a substantial following on their own personal pages.
So, Janine, are they doing it just for the money? And if so, how much are they getting paid? Or are they doing it, whether it's politics or brands, are they doing it because they truly believe in the intrinsics?
It's a very hard question, because I do believe that some people honestly do it because they believe in the brand intrinsics. Other people are definitely in it for the money. So
you've got to make a buck in this town,
yeah,
haven't you? Yeah,
and I think that's where the whole thing with the political influencers getting involved in the political space is very unethical, because it's not as if it's necessarily their words. So it all depends on
how do you know that it might be?
Because it depends on how the campaign's created. So if I created a campaign and I gave the influencer all their tweets, I write them, I say what they have to say, there's no ways that influencer really knows if this is true or not. So it's a big decision for an influencer
unless
to do
they are
it.
deeply steeped in the ethos of that political party and they genuinely believe that it reflects their values, then it's okay, surely.
Sure, it
and
is
if there's
okay,
a bit of money on the side, that's fine too.
but then they should be transparent with their following and say hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored.
What makes a good influencer?
A good influencer is someone who creates content that is engaging. People actually want to see what they're doing. I mean, it's so cluttered nowadays.
And the key is in content that they create, is what you're suggesting, not content that is created for them.
It depends. So sometimes the content is self-generated. Other times the influencers aren't that good at doing their own content. And then we would assist them at Tilt to actually create their content. But the content that we create is within the ethical boundaries of the brand and of the conversations they want to get across.
Azola, have you engaged at all with the political parties about this? And if so, have they told you anything?
No, not yet. We haven't engaged with the political parties themselves, but we've done our own research as Media Monitoring Africa around this phenomena of social media influencers. But we are, in fact, working with the IEC to combat disinformation, especially around elections. So we have a political party ad repository, pardon me, that we've created in assistance with the IEC, where
this has just been launched. I
yes, it's just been launched. So where the public can view actual ads of political parties, because there has also been a tempering of political party ads by people that we don't know.
Could you be influenced by a social media influencer when it comes to politics?
Definitely I could. What they do is that they tailor messages according to your own preferences. So I would be unwittingly following Janine on social media and we interact, but in the meantime she's been paid by a political party.
And it's influenced, Janine, you'll tell us, by almost by osmosis. If you like the person, you're more likely to believe what they're going to say.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous.
It is very dangerous, because also cell phones are very much a personal thing. So it works around that sort of trust, where you build trust according to...
Wow, this is really interesting stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Azola Dayile, Researcher, Media Monitoring Africa, Account Director at the agency Tilt. Janine Rainier, thank you very much indeed. Next on the programme, what does Generation Z or Generation Z spend its money on? A new survey hopes to shed some light, and we'll go behind the scenes to find out how this daring advertising campaign came to life.